Johnny Depp had been silent for weeks, completely off the radar, avoiding cameras, skipping public events, and refusing to give even a hint about the legal storm quietly brewing behind the scenes. Fans were already worried, whispering online that something felt off, but no one, absolutely no one, was prepared for what happened the moment the latest court news dropped. Because the second the verdict update hit the internet, Johnny's reaction wasn't just emotional, it was explosive. And within minutes, the entire world was watching. It began with one shaky video. A fan standing outside a private studio captured Johnny the moment he received a call, one that apparently delivered news so shocking, so life-altering, that his entire demeanor shattered right there in public. The clip starts quietly. Johnny steps out of a black SUV, sunglasses on, coat pulled tight like he's trying to hide from a world he once owned. His security team forms a circle around him, but even from a distance, fans immediately sensed tension. His shoulders were stiff. His walk was uneven. Something was brewing beneath the surface. Then the phone rang. At first, he froze. Then he answered, and within seconds, everything changed. Viewers around the world swear they saw the exact moment Johnny's face dropped, like someone had pulled the ground from under him. His jaw clenched, his breathing quickened, and then, in a move completely unlike the calm, composed Johnny fans know, he turned away from the cameras, pressed a hand to his forehead, and muttered something that sent the internet into meltdown. One lip reader claimed Johnny said, "They actually did it. I can't believe they really did it." Another said he whispered, "This ruins everything," and yet a third insisted Johnny said a name, one tied to someone he hasn't publicly mentioned in years. But the real shock came seconds later. Johnny slammed the car door shut, leaned his head against the window, and let out what looked like a heavy, exhausted breath, like the weight of the last decade had finally collapsed on top of him. Fans were stunned. People online wrote that his expression alone felt like watching a man break in real time. Within minutes, the clip went viral on every platform imaginable. But that was only the beginning. Moments after the video spread, reports began circulating that the court's latest decision had reopened old wounds Johnny thought were finally healed. Insiders hinted that new evidence, long buried and long forgotten, had resurfaced, evidence that could reshape everything the public thought they knew. Friends close to Johnny allegedly said he felt betrayed by someone he trusted. A source even claimed Johnny told them, "This changes everything." Again, fans were shocked. Emotions ran high. The family was left divided. And as the dust settled, one thing became painfully clear. Johnny wasn't just reacting to court news. He was reacting to a revelation that could ignite a brand new firestorm. And the world was about to witness every single second of it unfold. The moment Johnny's reaction video went viral, the world didn't just watch, it exploded. Comment sections filled with confusion, panic, and theories that spiraled out of control within minutes. But behind the scenes, a far more complicated story was unfolding, one that even Johnny himself wasn't prepared to face. According to insiders, Johnny had been warned days before that the court was preparing to make an announcement, one that had the potential to reopen a chapter of his life he thought was finally closed forever. He tried to stay calm. He tried to focus on work, on music, on his healing. But deep down, something in his chest refused to settle. His close friend, a studio technician who had seen Johnny in the hours leading up to the call, said he kept pacing. He kept checking his phone. He didn't say much, but you could tell something was weighing on him. It was like he was bracing for an impact no one else could see. When the call came, that impact hit full force. And what fans didn't know was this: the news Johnny heard wasn't just about a court decision. It involved a person, someone he once trusted, someone he once believed would never betray him. But betrayal was exactly what he felt when he heard the words on the other end of the line. Sources claim the court had accepted a new filing, a filing from someone connected to his past battles, someone who had quietly stepped back into the shadows only to emerge again with fresh evidence. That phrase alone sent a chill through Johnny. Fresh evidence of what? Fresh evidence supplied by whom? And why now? Immediately after the call, Johnny reportedly walked away from the crew, gripping his phone tightly as if trying to stop his own world from spinning. One eyewitness claimed they heard him say, No, this wasn't supposed to happen again." The studio became silent. Even security guards exchanged glances, unsure whether to approach him or give him space. But things escalated even further when Johnny received a second call, this time from someone incredibly close to him. A confidant, a person who had been with him during some of the darkest days of his life. Their conversation was short but intense. "I knew you should have seen this coming," the voice on the phone reportedly said. "I trusted you to tell me if something like this was happening," Johnny shot back. "You weren't ready to hear it." Those 5 words shook him. Because that meant the people around him, his own circle, knew something he didn't. Something important, something serious, something tied to a chapter he desperately wanted to close. Fans online immediately noticed the shift in his posture in the viral video. The way he stiffened, the way he looked toward the ground like someone who'd just had his stability ripped away. Some believed he looked angry, others thought he looked heartbroken, but one body language expert who analyzed the clip said, "This is the face of someone who feels blindsided. Someone who feels betrayed not just by the news but by the people who brought it to him." Even more shocking was what happened when Johnny re-entered the studio moments later. According to a crew member, he pulled aside one of his closest friends and whispered urgently, "Did you know about this? Did any of you know?" The friend looked down, unable to answer. And that was Johnny's answer. His trust, already fragile from years of battles, cracked again. Emotions ran high behind the closed doors of that studio. Voices rose. Johnny demanded clarity. His team tried to calm him down, but the fragile balance shattered when another member of his inner circle admitted, "We heard rumors. We didn't want to stress you until it was confirmed." Johnny's response was brief but devastating. "You don't get to choose which truth I can handle." Those words were heavy, painful, and they revealed just how deep the emotional wounds still ran. Meanwhile, outside the studio, fans gathered in growing numbers. They sensed something was wrong. They saw security tighten. They watched as Johnny paced near a private entrance, speaking to someone in hushed, frantic tones. One fan even said he looked like he was holding back tears or anger. No one could tell which. Inside, Johnny's world felt like it was collapsing again. The court news was only the spark, but the explosion came from the realization that the people he trusted most had kept the truth from him. And the truth wasn't just a legal twist. It was a name that hit him harder than anything else, a name connected to someone he hadn't spoken to in years, someone the world thought he'd left behind, someone who just stepped back into his life through the courtroom door. Who was it? Why now? And what did they want? Fans had no answers yet. But the story was only beginning, and the real drama, the emotional unraveling, the confrontation, the betrayal, the twists, was still to come. The name resurfacing in the court documents hit Johnny with a force he didn't expect. It wasn't just a reminder of the past, it was a wound he thought had long scarred over. But now that name was back, stamped in black ink on a filing that threatened to drag him into another emotional battlefield. Her name was whispered, never spoken publicly, but insiders knew exactly who it belonged to. Someone who had once stood firmly in Johnny's corner, only to retreat suddenly when the world turned hostile. Someone who had promised loyalty, then disappeared without explanation. Someone whose return now felt less like fate and more like a calculated strike. The filing wasn't simple. It contained allegations of withheld details and referenced previously unsubmitted communication records. Fans immediately swarmed the internet to decode what that meant. Was this new information meant to help Johnny, or was it meant to corner him? But behind closed doors, Johnny's reaction wasn't anger, not at first. It was disbelief, a kind of heartbreak that comes only when someone you once trusted re-enters your life in the most unpredictable, chaotic way. He reportedly whispered to a friend, "Why would she do this now?" After everything, the friend stayed silent. Meanwhile, the studio atmosphere became thick with tension. Every whisper, every footstep, every phone vibration felt amplified. People walked carefully, avoiding Johnny's line of sight as if any sudden movement might trigger another emotional unraveling. At one point, Johnny stormed into a private room, slamming the door behind him. A producer who witnessed it said, he wasn't angry at the world, he was angry at the betrayal. That's what hurt him. Inside the room, the confrontation began. One team member followed him in hesitantly. "Johnny, listen, we didn't know the details. We just heard, you heard," Johnny cut in sharply. "And instead of telling me, you kept it quiet. We thought we were protecting you." "Protecting me from what?" "My own life." The silence that fell was heavy. Outside the studio, fans were refreshing their feeds nonstop. Every second brought new theories, new rumors, new speculation about what the court news actually meant. Even celebrities began chiming in. One star tweeted, "If what I'm hearing is true, Johnny deserves so much better." Another wrote, "People always come back when they want something." But fans weren't prepared for what surfaced next. A leaked screenshot, allegedly from someone in the legal office, began circulating online. It mentioned that the individual submitting the new evidence claimed they were doing so to correct the public narrative and restore the full truth. But in the comments under the leak, one viewer wrote what everyone was secretly thinking. "Sounds like someone wants attention again." Inside the studio, Johnny wasn't thinking of attention. He was thinking of promises, old ones, fragile ones, that had been broken long before anyone else knew they existed. He took a seat, placed his hands together, and stared at the wall. "I thought she wanted peace," he murmured. "I thought we all did." The team exchanged worried glances. Some wanted to comfort him. Some wanted to leave him alone. But no one knew which option was the right one. Then another twist hit. Johnny received a message, short, cryptic, and only 2 sentences. "I didn't want it to come to this. Please let me explain." He stared at the message for what felt like minutes. His breathing shifted, his posture stiffened, and he whispered, almost to himself, "Why is she doing this?" A team member finally asked, "Are you going to reply?" Johnny shook his head. "Not until I know her intention." That hesitation sparked a wave of emotional conflict inside him. Because somewhere, beneath the confusion and anger, another feeling existed, fear. Not of the court, not of the public, but of reopening a chapter that never truly closed. Meanwhile, the internet was breaking apart under the pressure of endless theories. One camp insisted the mystery woman was trying to help him. Another said she wanted revenge. And a third, the loudest, insisted that the timing was too suspicious to be innocent. Then came the family reaction. A relative of Johnny, speaking anonymously, told reporters, "This news has shaken him. He's exhausted, emotionally drained." And yes, the family is divided about what should happen next. Divided, a word fans seized instantly. Some family members believed Johnny should shut the situation down publicly before it grew bigger. Others believed he should confront the mystery woman privately and get answers. But Johnny wasn't ready for either. He stood up suddenly, pacing, running a hand through his hair. "Why now? Why bring this into the court? Why not talk to me directly?" Another message buzzed on his phone. This one was longer. "You know why. You know what was left undone. Please don't make me look like the villain. This wasn't my choice." Johnny closed his eyes, leaning against the table. "I can't do this again," he whispered. But the universe wasn't giving him a choice. The court scheduled a hearing date sooner than anyone expected. And the moment that news broke, fans erupted into a frenzy, insisting something huge was about to happen. A twist no one saw coming. A confrontation years in the making. Inside the studio, Johnny finally looked at his team and said, "If she wants to step into the light, then so be it. But I won't be blindsided again." His voice was steady this time, calm, but cracked with emotion. And that marked the beginning of a new storm. One that threatened to expose secrets, reopen old emotional scars, and force everyone involved to face truths they'd tried to bury. The past was no longer behind Johnny. It had stepped forward, and it was demanding answers. The days that followed were nothing short of chaos. Each hour brought a new headline, a new rumor, a new layer of confusion added to a story already tangled with emotion. Johnny tried to stay focused, but the pressure was mounting, and the mystery woman's involvement had triggered a storm he could no longer outrun. The court's sudden hearing announcement sent shockwaves through every corner of the internet. Fans speculated wildly, influencers dissected every facial expression from the viral video, and analysts predicted the legal consequences of the new evidence. But while the world was busy debating the drama, Johnny was fighting a battle that no one could fully see, the internal one. According to someone close to him, he was quieter than usual. Not angry, not explosive, just withdrawn, like he was thinking about every decision he ever made. Johnny spent hours replaying memories he thought he had locked away. Moments of laughter, moments of arguments, promises made, promises broken. It wasn't just the legal twist that shook him, it was the emotional history behind it. Because the woman who resurfaced wasn't just someone tied to his past. She was someone who once mattered to him deeply. Inside the studio, tensions continued to rise. People walked on eggshells, meetings were delayed, conversations were whispered. Even his closest friends admitted privately that they didn't know how to help him. Emotions ran high, and the fear of saying the wrong thing at the wrong moment made everyone overly cautious. One evening, a heated argument broke out between 2 members of Johnny's team. One insisted they should go public immediately, addressing the rumors and controlling the narrative. The other argued that the more they spoke, the more complicated the situation would become. Johnny overheard it all. He stepped into the room and said, "I appreciate what you're trying to do, but this isn't just a narrative. This is my life." The room fell silent. It was the first time in days that he'd spoken with that much clarity. But clarity didn't mean calm, because the very next morning, the woman at the center of the storm made her move. A private email, her first direct explanation, was sent to Johnny. But it wasn't an apology. It wasn't an attack. It was something far more complicated. The email read, "You may think I did this to hurt you, but I did it because someone else is lying. I couldn't stay silent anymore. They forced my hand. Johnny read it 3 times, his expression unreadable. His friend asked him, "Do you believe her?" "I don't know," he said quietly. That's the problem. The uncertainty ate at him. Because despite everything, the silence, the distance, the sudden reappearance, part of him still believed she wasn't capable of intentional betrayal. Another part believed that everyone is capable of betrayal under pressure. Meanwhile, the media latched onto every new development. One outlet claimed the woman was seeking revenge. Another claimed she was protecting Johnny. A third claimed she had been threatened by someone else involved. No one knew the truth. But the biggest twist came when another leak hit the internet, a voice note allegedly between the woman and an unknown individual. In the clip, she could be heard saying, "He doesn't know everything. And if he finds out who actually started this, it won't be me he's angry with." The clip went viral within minutes. Fans were absolutely stunned. Who was the someone she was referring to? Why were they involved? And what did they gain from dragging Johnny back into a legal firestorm? Inside Johnny's world, panic rippled through his circle. Some feared this was all a setup. Others worried the leak was a manipulation tactic. And a few whispered a theory so dramatic it could have come straight out of a movie. What if someone close to him is the one who pushed her to file the evidence? Johnny refused to believe it, but doubt had already crept in. He called one of his longest, most trusted friends and asked, "Has anyone been talking to her? Anyone from here?" His friend hesitated. "Not that I know of. But people talk, Johnny. You know how this goes." That hesitation haunted him. Even his trusted circle wasn't fully certain. The emotional stakes were rising fast. Johnny was torn between confronting his past, defending his present, and guarding his future. Fans described him as looking haunted, exhausted, and on edge every time he stepped outside. And body language experts insisted he was carrying far more emotional weight than he was letting on. But the drama didn't stop there. A family insider revealed to reporters, this news has caused tension among relatives. Some think he should cut all ties with her. Others think he should hear her out. He's stuck between advice, emotions, and legal chaos. The family was left divided. The world was left guessing. And Johnny? He was left standing at the center of a storm built on secrets. But the biggest twist, the one that sent shockwaves through his inner circle, came late at night. As Johnny sat alone, trying to piece together the truth, he received a final message from the woman. This time it wasn't an explanation. It was a warning. You need to know the real enemy isn't me. Ask yourself who benefits from this chaos. When you find them, everything will make sense. Johnny's heart dropped, because for the first time since the court news broke, he realized she might be right. Someone else, someone unseen, might be pulling the strings. And they were using both of them as pawns. As the emotional storm intensified and unanswered questions piled higher than ever, one thing became undeniable. Johnny's reaction wasn't just a moment caught on camera. It was the beginning of a much bigger story. The resurfaced evidence, the mysterious messages, the divided family, the hidden enemy, everything now pointed toward a revelation still waiting to erupt. Fans are shocked, emotions ran high, and the world is holding its breath for what comes next. And now it's your turn. What do you think is really happening? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next explosive update.